This podcast will talk you through the ups and downs in the entertainment industry.
Each and every one of you has a talent, but it's a tough business. People gonna tell you, get a real job.
By introducing you to sustainable, moldable methods in a crazy, cutthroat world.
Let us harness our willpower and take real action.
Don't let it get you down.
Join me, brothers and sisters, on a journey through trials and tribulations.
Unfake it till you make it.
Hello, everybody. This is Tony Soriano, and welcome to another episode of the Unfake It Till You Make It podcast, where I interview people in the entertainment industry who simply inspire me. This is a place where we talk all about the beautiful and dreadful things in the industry and share the many ways of handling them. Today's guest is a colleague of mine. He is a Hollywood film and TV editor, a composer, and a sound engineer. He also designs and builds audio and video post-production boutique facilities from the ground up. He operates them for a while until they're self-sustaining, and then he moves on to the next, and all while making room for quality time with his family. We get into all of that, and we even touch on his experience at a 10-day silent retreat, something I've been wanting to do for many years, and people have probably wanted me to do that as well. Anyway, without any further introduction, please enjoy your drive, walk, house clean, or desk session as you take a listen to my conversation with Matias Lanzi. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. After planning this for so long,
It's been
this
months.
is it. Yeah, I know.
But no, it's all good. I've been crying at night.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, so what is in the mix? What's going on with everything?
What is in the mix? A lot of work. We're right now. I'm social, man. Social. It's being very powerful. We are basically generating content, and you can't possibly generate enough content. So it's really interesting where this is going.
And what is this?
Good question. What is this? Well, I'm talking basically about right now. I'm doing advertising. I'm doing sound and video for advertising, and I see we are seeing more and more that things are moving towards all the social, and the secret is to generate content to keep engaging the audience, and basically that's where it's all moving. Where before we used to do tons of radios and try to put different phone numbers on the radios to see who calls where, and being able to get some demographics or data. Now everything is ready there, because you put the content out, people consume it, you see who did it, you have instant numbers. So the entire industry is moving to the certainty of numbers with online content.
And are you, I know of course you have a major editing background, but right now, what is the company, are you running it, did you start it, how did that actually happen?
Well, what's happening right now, and this is the way I've been operating, I found a little neat niche, and that is ad agencies need their internal studio somehow. It doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be everything, but it is very useful for them to have a working studio, especially now that you need to generate content. As you know, anything that is not broadcast or it's not going out to film or whatever the money is not there. So usually, since you need to generate so much content, you're not going to treat it as a commercial. So this thing about creating an internal studio in agencies it's been a great tool for them. So lately what I've been doing is that, basically building the studio for the agency and running it until it starts running, and then I move to the next one. Right now I am working with Orsi, I am the director of multimedia services for Orsi. I built a studio over here. We're basically making the content for our clients. Our clients are Honda, Dole, and so that's what the project we're doing right now. It's a Honda project. It's very useful for agencies to have this. In this case, Orsi doesn't do the broadcast here. They want to keep doing what they're doing. They want to go with the editors. They want to go with the animation houses. They want to go just to keep the top-notch work going. We do the same thing, but without the overhead, basically.
Yeah.
And the previous agency I was working for, I built a huge studio. It was a 5-room studio, and we ended up actually expanding it to 7 rooms. They do all their broadcast, everything, all the production it's made in there. So it depends on the company, and depends on what they want to do. And some do the full thing, some just stay with the new stuff, let's say, and that is not so politicized. And
yeah.
Now, commercials and stuff like that, they have their, their romance, their politics, their ways of doing things, right? With the client, with the producers, with the post house, all that. There's a certain game that creates expensive. Yeah.
Now, in the internal studio that you're generating and I guess navigating for them and creating a workflow system for them, you're sometimes producing in that avenue as well, or do they have their own team like come in and utilize the space? How does that work?
Well, there's many ways that we work. They have their creatives. So an agency has their producers, their creatives, and so they come up with the concepts, they come up with the ideas, they talk to the client, they assess, they check numbers, and they come up with campaigns. Once they come up with campaigns, we need to execute them, and that's where we come in. Well, this campaign, it's about this, that. They give me a brief. This is what we want to do. We're going to be shooting. They provide the shoot. And we just put it together and do all the assembly, the online, the color, the sound, and just at the end give them back to them so they can post it to their social team.
Okay.
So it depends. Sometimes we do creative, sometimes we don't, and it depends. We are also open to the outside public, so it's sometimes we have to do creative for other people, and
Great.
we do.
Very cool.
So to answer your question, this is an independent company inside the agency, if you will.
Yeah.
Inside, it's an agency. The agency is the umbrella, and this is another entity, and that's usually how they're working. All the agencies. RPA is doing that. I know mostly all agencies have now their post houses.
Yeah, interesting. So the agency is the person, if the big brands, they would contact the agency first, and the agency will find the team, the production company, and perhaps the post house, and then they bring it all together.
Yes, and usually you go to the agency because the agency has the insight. The agency knows how to market it and where those little nuances of the market are. This is a Hispanic agency, so it doesn't work the same as a general market agency because basically the culture is completely different. We, besides speaking another language, we relate in other ways that the general market doesn't, or does it in other ways. So you find the client finds an agency for the market they want to work in, and the agency provides all the insights and the marketing strategy. Production, usually the post house is defined by the production house, and sometimes it doesn't. It varies a lot, but yeah, that's the main idea. The client used the agency for insights and marketing power, basically, and creativity.
Yeah, and what's your company called?
The company is called Ozone Content Studios. And again, it's a company owned by agency owners.
Okay.
And that's usually, and full disclosure to clients, it always has to be like that. And so we say we have an internal studio. We do great work. We show, because they always ask for demos. We show the demos, and we move forward if they decide to award us the job.
So what does a typical week look like? If you have, I mean, I know every job's different, but can you run us through like the madness, the fun parts, and all that stuff?
A typical week. Well, let's go through a typical process.
Sure. Yeah.
I get a call from the producers. We have a project, and that's where we start running. So they come to us, and they start explaining the project. They start explaining what we need to do, what we need to convey, what are the final assets that they need, and what are the materials we have. With that, the first thing that starts the whole thing is basically a ballpark number. How much would it cost to do this, blah, blah, blah. So very informally, we look at things, we come up with a simple ballpark, so they can have an idea of what their idea is going to cost.
Can I interrupt? Do you tell them you'll get back to them in like an hour or 2 days? How do you do that? What are some tips?
Well, it depends on the project, but I usually turn around within 12 to 24 hours.
Cool.
Again, it's not a huge shoot. It's mostly post-production. So for me, it's easy just to put it together and that's it.
I see.
When we're shooting, it's a complete different story. If we're going to shoot, then, we need to get crews. It's a different story. And sometimes we have all the full production people here just planning the shoot. As you probably know, we do a pre-pro. After pricing it, we do the pre-pro. We call the crew, and we go out and shoot when we're shooting. If it's just post-production, again, I just bounce back within 12 to 24 hours. And for me, it's fairly simple because the rates are pretty standard. What we look at, it's just time. How long is it going to take to edit this? How long is it going to take to color this? How long is it going to take to clean up this and do audio and stuff like that?
Okay.
So yeah, post-production, short time. When there's a shoot, it's a good week, I would say, to prep it. Yeah.
And when you start your post, let's say you go into post, is there anything you prepare for a new job that you personally do that really like primes the pump, makes you get in a good creative mood?
Well, usually what gets me into it is obviously looking at the concept and mostly looking at the footage. When we're doing a lot of Facebook canvases, I look into the concept, and we try to do interesting things. So that's what gives me out, what pumps me up. I see, well, we're doing this, we're putting this here, and then tilt to pan, we can add this little thing here to make it more interactive. So that's what I like to dive into the project with the creatives and try to just accentuate everything they want to do. If I have a little ritual at the beginning, not really. I do the technical thing. I get the footage, transcode it, look at it, and that's when things start coming together. That's when I see the footage. The mind starts going crazy.
So no candles and like seance? No, okay.
No, not even coffee.
You don't drink coffee?
I don't.
You're an editor who doesn't drink coffee?
I am.
I do not drink coffee either, actually. That's pretty. I drink some matcha tea here and there, but that's pretty impressive.
No, I don't. Well, obviously I used to. But I found out that, as time goes by, you don't work as many hours, you don't drink as much coffee, you don't, slowly I think the craziness of work as you grow old, and I'm not saying that I'm old, but I'm older, it just kind of normalizes for some people.
What you would like, it seems like that's a natural flow. If it happens, that's nice, right?
Right,
But
right.
some people...
And well, it has a lot to do, I think, with my personality, and my personality is going with the flow. I never force anything, because if you need to force it, it's not meant to be. So I tend to go with that, and where back then I didn't. So yeah, I think that's the little...
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because you could still be a workaholic, but if you go with the flow, and if you're not supposed to work extra time, then you won't. But you could still be like loving work.
I work extra time when I have to, and I do it gladly. I tend to, where before I used to do extra time at the tail end, I try to do the extra time at the front end. So instead of coming in at 9 in the morning, I will come in at 7, and it just feels better.
Okay.
I feel more accomplished, and I go home early to see my kid. It's, I guess that has a lot to do with it. Babies and stuff.
Yeah, I like that. I want to get more on the getting there early. Whenever I do wake up early and do something, I feel better for the rest of the day. Just like clockwork.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've always say I'm going to wake up early and exercise and stuff like that. I know you do it. I haven't been able to do it. So just getting early to work, relaxed, and starting on a head start, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if I exercise, I'll feel better. But
well, what about like
editors?
Editors. I know that's the thing. We sit all day long, and you got to get up once an hour. You take a 1-minute walk around the office or something. Do you do that?
Well, I have a park. You probably stopped by.
Yeah.
I'm next to the Santa Monica airport, so there's a really cool park, and I run probably a couple of laps in the middle of the day.
Oh, that's good.
Run or walk or something, just to, as you say, just to get your eyes.
And you're right. Your eyes have to be now.
And your mind. I mean, just the mind goes. Go ahead.
Well, do you, when you're not color correcting, do you use any app on the computer that will take away the orange or the blue from the screen after you late hours, like Flux?
That's a good idea. No, I have a coating on my glasses.
Oh, you do? Really? What is it? What is that?
You just ask for a computer, coating that will stop the UVs.
Smart.
And it's the same as sun, kind of. So, but yeah, as you say, the frequency. Lately, I found my eyes very tired because of that. The blue frequency on the screen. So that's a good idea. Actually, I'm gonna try that.
Well, the app is called Flux. It's for both phone and for your computer. The only thing is, when you know you're gonna color correct a little later at night, you're gonna forget, and you're like, "What's going on?" Oh, and you have to click it off. It's kind of funny.
And then you turn it back on, and everything's bright. And
it's so harsh.
Two things. The Macs have this thing already there. You don't need to add, and we run Macs. And the other thing is that I color correct on a monitor, on a video monitor, not on the computer screen.
Yeah. Okay.
So that it doesn't matter how my screen looks like, and I do that because I've never done this flip of the blue, but I do bring my brightness all the way down when I work.
Okay.
And so
all the way down. No.
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. I mean, just a little.
So
as long as I can see.
Now,
to me, it's like a paper. You need to see it. You need to see the screen, and it needs to look like a paper. It doesn't need to jump at your face.
Yeah.
As long as I see where things are, that's good enough.
Wow. I read something. I thought that you're supposed to have the screen brighter. Interesting. Maybe I got it backwards.
No, I mean maybe, but for my eyes at this point, they hurt.
You've tested it, and it makes you feel better if it's lower.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Because you're right. You might get a little bit more squinty, but
the muscles themselves are handling all this brightness, so.
Yeah. And I feel it. And I guess it's after being in front of a screen for so many years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have to turn it down. I'm a programmer too, so it's a problem.
You're a programmer?
Everything's on screen for me, so it's tricky.
Wait, you're a programmer? How so?
I'm a C++ programmer and C# and all that stuff.
I know the C# minor in music, but I don't know
Yeah.
anything about programming.
Yeah, C# minor works too. But
Oh yeah, you're a musician as well, so you know.
yeah.
Wow.
So the screen is a problem for me, and I've been talking to people about it. I was looking at. I don't know if you looked at this masterclass website.
Yeah.
Which is all the big guys. They just sit there and gives us a masterclass. So I enrolled there, and I saw Hans Zimmer, which is obviously the musician for all these incredible movies, and he's got so many screens in front of him, and I wonder how he does it, because he spends all day looking at those screens, and maybe it's just me.
Oh no, I think it affects everyone. I wonder if he gives any tips. Have you watched it yet?
I think on the halfway through, so no,
Okay.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to check some of those out. There's quite a
I
few.
haven't seen any editors on the site. I kind of
It's going to come out. I'm sure it will come out.
I'm sure it will.
What about Martin Scorsese's editor? That'd be cool. She's done a lot. I mean,
there's tons of geniuses out there.
Yeah.
And just script doctors that will turn around a script on the screen like nothing. So anyway,
well, back to the desk for a second. How does your desk look? Because I can tell you what mine looks like. I have 2 Apple boxes. I should just show you. It's kind of funny. Like an editor's desk is kind of funny. I have. Can you see? Like I have one for that, one for the mouse.
That's awesome.
It's pretty good with the Apple, like the little thin Apple boxes. Do you do anything for your hand, or do you have any special tools that you use to edit, like one of those writing edits?
Yes.
What do you do? What's the brand? How does your desk look?
Well, my desk, I kind of first, and I'm still considering it. Those up and down desks that go up and you can stand.
I want that.
So I think next week it's time.
Wow, do it.
Because of the sitting down that we've been talking about, it's just bad. Yeah. My back is hurting. So how my desk looks. Simple desk, nothing out of the ordinary. It's not an editor's desk. It's not a rack desk with. I just have two monitors. My volume control in the front. I use I'll send you pictures if you want to put them up somewhere.
Yeah.
I have a Mackie big knob for volume. That will give me the output of the video card. It will give me the output of the computer. It will give me the output of anything else I wanna. So it has like three
That's
inputs.
handy. Wow.
Yeah, and it's really inexpensive. You can drive 3 speakers with it. Then I have a Wacom tablet, and the reason why is that got rid of my carpal tunnel.
I think I need to get one sometime soon. I've been talking about it for years, and then I kind of stopped doing some editing. Then I'm back doing a little more this year.
It's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. I started using that when I was doing a lot of 3D. Since 3D takes so much clicking, because every vertex you need to click and move, and the hand just goes crazy. After Effects takes so many clicks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really good with key. How do you call it? Quick keys.
Quick keys.
Because of that too, my right hand is in pain. But after using the Wacom tablet, it went away.
And what brand do you have? I mean,
Wacom.
So what is there a model? I mean, a special model?
I think it's the Intuos. It's not a big one. There's a big one with a screen on it. That's for illustrators. I'm not an illustrator. I have the one smaller than the big one and one bigger than the small one.
Okay.
At home, I have a small one. Makes no difference. It's a mouse.
Yeah, I got it.
Again, I'm not drawing. I'm not illustrating. I'm just pointing and clicking. So even if it scales, it works for me.
Okay. Interesting. And let's talk about creativity a little more.
Okay.
The word, it can be so many things. What does it mean to you?
The word creativity. It's interesting because creativity has a lot to do, I think, with context. To have useful creativity, and I found that I might have a lot of creativity, but sometimes it might not be useful. And I try to move towards the usefulness of it. In every way, I do, as you mentioned, I make music. I was some time ago. I was doing music for commercials, and that's where I learned this concept about useful creativity. I can create music for a commercial, and it could be the best music ever for me and for the commercial. But if the client doesn't like it, then it's not useful creativity. So creativity for me has to be free, but in a way it needs to be structured. Needs to tell a story. Needs to have a message. Yeah, in the end, somehow it needs to mean something, I think. And it might mean something different for me than for you, and that's okay. But as long as it means something, I think it's important.
Yeah. And
then when you go towards, especially in advertising, creativity is great, but you need to tell the story, and you need to tell the message, and you need to sell the product.
And you got to be efficient and effective.
Exactly. So to me, that's the highest level of creativity, where you're using the best you can for the best there is, and that's when the work speaks for itself. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And have you ever thought about what gets you in the best creative mode? Or like, let's say this one week just went so great and you just had all these creative ideas that you channeled in the right way that was useful. Can you recall anything that triggered that or helped? Or
creativity to me is work. I don't know if you can see it.
What does that say?
It says, if you don't give up, ideas start flowing. So to me, that creative process is painful. It's painful, it's doubtful, there's a lot of insecurities, there's a lot of what ifs, there's a lot of, and then it comes a time where after all this insecurity, all the procrastination is shit, I have an hour to get this done, and that's when it really kicks in. It's work, and it's sticking to it.
Practice.
And in every way. I mean, editing. Get a piece of something, try to edit it 5 different ways, and you'll see that if you stick to it, you'll get it. You'll get 5 different cuts. Same deal with music. To me, music is painful once to get it flowing. Once it starts flowing, then it's just joy and the same thing with editing or with graphics or stuff like that. It's focusing. It's flowing. It's knowing what you're trying to make without expecting anything, other than knowing that in the end it's going to be done and it's going to be great. That's the only security that I can ever have. You know what? Good. Don't worry. It's going to be done. It's going to be done in time. How? I have no idea.
Yeah, just know that and then just hit it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, now if someone was completely new to the film industry or entertainment industry as you know it, how can they prep themselves for the madness?
Oh my God. Well, at some point I think I knew, or I thought I knew. The industry has changed so much that I don't know what to say anymore. What can I say? Well, many things. One is your craft will speak for itself. You can sell yourself, and it's a big part of it to sell yourself. But it's also important to deliver. And I noticed that it's harder if you don't sell yourself, but even if you don't, your creativity, your craft, your work will speak for itself. And I think that's one of a confidence points that somebody can have in the industry. Just if you know your work is good, you'll find a place for you. There'll be a place, you'll be successful. Work ethic, it's something that I see suffering a bit. Work ethic is something that that it takes experience to get there. So it's a kind of a catch-22. It's the same thing as always. How am I going to get the experience if I don't do it, and how do I do it if I need the experience to do it? But surrounding yourself with people, like-minded people, surrounding yourself with people that will teach you things that's one of the things. Two, if you love something, just do it and keep doing it. Don't. One tends to go to what works. Okay, and it's normal. It's logical. We need to pay the bills and all that stuff. But true innovation comes from doing what you love, and it doesn't matter what people think about it. It's who you are. By all means, I'm not saying just stick to your thing and screw everybody else. No, you need to adapt to what other people need from you, but you need to have something that it's yours, and that you practice every time. That will make you unique. And then just have great work ethic. I think that's the most important thing, and people will start seeing you for those values, for your creativity, for your values in terms of honesty and so on, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say about the industry. The industry is going 10 different ways, thousands of different ways. I think the industry is different everywhere you go. It has little nuances that you need to kind of get in order to be in. And you need to be at the beginning quiet and learn that, and then use the knowledge you gather to make it. You go to school when you're little. You go to school, you learn. Then you spend the rest of your life with what you learn. I mean, the next phase of your life is using all that stuff you learned with the people you learned it, and then the last stage is success. Using all that, so it's life.
Well put. And now, if someone is coming new to the industry, any questions they might want to ask themselves about about doing a lifetime in filmmaking or in the entertainment industry? Because I mean, you're in it. This is one of your passions, and you're pushing through. So, what questions did you have? Any questions for yourself early on, or should they?
Questions. I had every single question. I think I was. I don't know. It's funny because today, which is today I started working with Gabby, a PA she's really new, and she came to LA I believe a week ago, and she's new to this, and I think I spoke to her and say, well, what is it that you want to do? And I said, well, maybe this job is not what you want to do, but just watch and see. And I mean, and if you're into it, you can sit here and just watch and never hesitate to ask. But it's difficult. But there's people that won't do that to you. I mean, I remember being young. I remember being a second engineer in the studio, and I remember that I one day asked an engineer, "Listen, what does this do?" And he just almost slapped me. So it's different everywhere. I personally like to pay it forward. There's a lot of people that helped me when I was young. I had a great mentor in terms of sound, and it was the engineer for the Bee Gees.
Wow, that's cool.
So I didn't have to ask anything. He just downloaded everything he knew on me, and I like to do the same thing. So I offer always. I mean, questions by all means. Don't never hesitate. I'm not going to chew your head off,
That's
like
great.
some people do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great contribution when you're knowledgeable in something and you know someone's seeking it. It's like teaching without having a classroom if someone's asking. That's great.
I think it's important, and it makes things better, believe it or not, because not only that, when you pass your knowledge, then that knowledge gets passed along too, because people remember that. People tend to say, okay, it was done to me, I'm going to do that for the rest of the human beings, I guess.
Yeah. And now how do you deal with all this stuff and you hustling and working with the agency, for the agency, creating stuff, and you have a family and you have to spend time with them? How do you balance it? Have you learned any amazing things this last year or couple years?
Yeah, priorities, and I guess nothing's right and nothing's wrong. But as you traverse life, your priorities change. In my case, at the beginning, my priorities, it was me, it was my career, it was me, what I can do. As you move on, as you become successful, as you get fulfilled, then other priorities start coming. And you realize, I mean, at least I did, and that nothing's that serious. And that we're not curing cancer here. We're and I hope we could. But flowing. We're going back to flowing. When I'm on a job, I need to flow. And if I flow, things naturally happen. It's been a very long time since I don't have to stay on a weekend, for instance, and be away from my family, or I have to stay until 12 p.m. Deadlining on a project. It has a lot to do also with who you're working for or who you're working with. My last agency, it was hectic. We would do 5 weekends in a row, and in the end, it takes a big toll. So once you live that, you start choosing what you prefer and what works for you. And although you put in the balance, okay, my success and my career and my family, then you start balancing that because naturally your priorities have changed. Not that I'm leaving work or not paying attention to work, but I'm being probably more focused. I'm being probably more effective on my work, and then I go home and spend time with my family. So I think that if you organize yourself correctly and if you surround yourself with the right people, life is life, and it's not a crazy just work. I've done it. I've done it many times, especially when I was young, especially when I was doing records. We'll go nonstop for a month, but now I don't think we need that, me and my family. So we take it in a different way. Delegating, it's a good thing.
Yeah. How do you delegate as doing editing and post work? I mean, as far as the stuff you've been getting into.
Just getting good people, getting somebody that can manage. Getting an assistant is really important. Maybe an operations manager for the studio. Those things help a lot, and I jump from one thing to another. I can't say I don't. I mean, one day I'll be doing an estimate, and the next time I will be animating in After Effects. So I build a company. When I start a company, I start myself and I do everything. And little by little, as the company starts running, the first thing I put is an operations manager. Then I get another editor, and then I get a sound guy. And by the next editor, I'm out.
Great.
So now I can either run the company, or I can move on to the next company. And I staffed and made a business operational.
That's an interesting concept. It's like you're selling a company, but you don't specifically own it, right?
Right. At this point, I got hired.
That's kind of cool. You don't have
to build the
overhead of owning a company, but you establish it, you get it where you want it, you delegate, and then you either step back and oversee a little, or you pass it on and get bought out, or whatever you call it.
I'll move to the next one, or stick to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, and also it becomes a point where, and in a company like this, when I come in the end, and after some years of the company running, it's a matter of money too, because in the end, once the company is running, my salary can fulfill 2 positions, 3 positions. So that's the next logical move. Once it's built, you don't want to keep paying a salary for me. If I was the owner, I would say, yeah, I mean, I'd rather get 2 more editors than keeping you around, because the operations manager is running the place. So it doesn't really matter.
Interesting.
So, it's interesting. It's interesting cool. Because my goal is to take myself out of it.
Yeah.
And it's a weird one.
But I love that goal, and it's something that reminds me of this recent times. I'm trying to figure out something similar, you know. I mean, I have a production company that we do some small stuff, and recently did a pretty cool, I'll show you this really cool 360 degree camera goes around these talents doing great acrobatics. But
nice.
I know Tony Robbins, he always says, like, create your business like you're going to sell it, or run your business like you're getting ready to sell it.
Yeah.
You know, and that always stuck, and that's interesting how you're approaching it through other people's companies, but you're like taking over and then you're hopping out. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's like seeding. It's just I'm kind of the seed of the company. Once it's going.
Now, how do you find
the thing? And this is what I'm working more and more, and it's having a piece of that company.
Yeah, so, that would be key.
So that's happening. So
very cool.
Now it's a little bit more interesting.
Well, now you seems like you've gotten the groove of doing this, so now you have like the ability to make something like that happen.
Probably.
And now
I still love. The other reason why I don't I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the other reason why I don't want to stay there, it's because what I love is editing, music, and creativity. I don't like running companies. So I know how to get them running, but that's it. I don't want to manage it. I don't want to be a CEO. I want to be an editor. I want to be an animator.
Yeah.
Or a programmer. I don't know. Sometimes.
That's cool. Now, how do you find an agency? I mean, in the very beginning, how did you find an agency to allow you to come in and do this?
How did I? Well, I started very early in a post-production studio. After doing a lot of records, I found post-production, and I found that a week post-producing is 2 months worth of music mixing at a studio. So that kind of got me away from the record business and started going on to post-production. I started working for several houses as a freelance, mainly as an audio engineer, as a sound designer. And I started learning the business and just by watching, and always being a freelancer, and you know how that is. You go, you do your work, you disappear, that's it. You don't care about anything else. So after a while, clients basically started saying, listen, can you do this for me? And I'm like, no, I don't have a studio. We have to. So it just made sense to start a studio. So in 2004, I created Pure Post in Santa Monica, and Sixth and Santa Monica, and we started going there for quite some time, and we created one video suite and one audio suite, and we started working, and that's how I got into the studio business. I have to say my father is a studio owner, a music studio owner, so there's a background there. So started with Pure Post, and suddenly, and this is funny, I mean, I've never had to worry about, okay, what's next? Okay, how am I gonna, what's my next job? just happened. And after a while, and after having my studio, people started calling, saying, "Listen, can you build my studio?" Um, I built other studios for the previous post-production houses that I was working for. That probably started an interest in it. But then people started calling, "Listen, I want this in my house. Can you?" Or how much would it cost for? And then suddenly an agency calls, or suddenly a big post-production house wants more rooms, and I guess it's just word of mouth, or it was in my. I never ever remember sitting there and saying, "Okay, I need to do my rounds, I need to do my calls in order to get."
That's beautiful. It's a great
well,
thing.
yeah, that started until then the business starts to change and people start moving away from it, and there's new people, you're not known anymore, and that gets a little tricky. So the business changed. So now I do have to call, I do have to do all that stuff. But how I got there, it was pretty natural. It was just a sequence of events.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a lot of, but that's why I say your work will speak for itself. You don't have to. If you're visible and if you're surrounded by the.
That's the key, though. Visibility. Too. Some people. I used to do a lot of work and no one saw any of it. Just odd.
Yeah.
Gotta
so
show
if
people.
you're visible, and I have to say too, relationships, and that comes down to the people you surround yourself with, and these friends you grew up with. There's people that, like you, are in the industry. All this, all the people you went to school with, all the people, like when I went to Berkeley, all those guys are around. And I'm a very good friend. It's the director for Sony. So it's, you work that because it's your generation, because it's your team, I would say. And that's what happens now. That generation, some of them are not there anymore because they moved on or because for whatever. And that's when you need to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, listen, I used to, blah, 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 blah. Hey, hello."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ah. Wow. So
Different times.
You went to UC Berkeley then?
No, I went to Berkeley College of Music.
Berkeley College of Music, yeah.
In Boston.
Cool.
In Boston.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a great school.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So it was funny because, again, I'm not doing what I went to school for. I just, again, followed my passion, and my passion shifted from one thing to the other. Or expanded. I wouldn't say shifted.
Yeah, expanded for sure. It's relative. That's great. Now, speaking of relationships and all that, when you deal with people in this business, and there's a lot of fake people or strict, crazy people, what kind of tips of handling difficult people have you come across? How do you do it? What do you do?
Well, there's one thing, and you probably might agree with me, and that is ego. You have to cater to people's egos, and to me, that's the bottom line. And I don't like to kiss ass. I don't like to chase people. So what I do is I find something that it's real, and try to cater to people's egos in that way. If I'm not going to tell you, "Oh my God, you're a great painter." No. But I'm going to find what you're great at, and I'm going to try to accentuate that. And I see that people respond to that because they're interested. Suddenly, you're talking their language. Suddenly, they feel good.
And it's honest. It's like you believe that you found something, and you.
And it's important for me to be honest because it's the era of bullshit. I'm sorry to say, but look at the president that we have, and I won't go there.
Yeah.
But I'm scared. So, and I think the industry is kind of like that. So, to me, honesty and values are important.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be like that. It's a great industry. We're all in it, and we can all be successful at it. We don't need to compete.
Yeah, that's a great.
Especially
outlook.
now that, again, content. So anybody can generate content.
It's everywhere. It doesn't stop. Okay, now when you need a break from all this, recharge, what do? Do you and your family go somewhere special, or do you personally do some solo mission into the woods? What do you do?
Let me make sure this keeps recording. Yeah. Well, again, I tend to be very family oriented. So at the end of the day, I go back to the family, and that recharges me. When I come home, open the door, and my 2-year-old just goes, "Papi," and it's just, that's it. And I come to work next day, recharged, and then I have a weekend, and I completely unplug. I have a long commute. Well, I'm going to Encino, from Santa Monica to Encino, so it's a good hour, 45 minutes. So that helps me a lot to unplug, believe it or not.
What do you do on the way? Do you listen to anything or music?
I listen to podcasts.
You do? Okay.
I listen to your podcast.
Yes. That's great. I love that. Same here. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I remember when I was talking to you, I was saying I'm listening right now. I mean, so I was driving on the 405. I listen to podcasts. I listen to music. I love EDM, so I blast EDM, and sometimes I listen to NPR. I try not to because it gets me a little bit
information overload.
Yes, yes, and you know.
Yeah, you chime in a little and then realize, okay, maybe. Okay.
Yeah. So I try not to when music plays, then I play music, but. And mainly, it's not what I do, but what I don't do. Sometimes, and I remember this, coming out of a session, going home, and in my head, I was still in the session.
Yeah.
I was still thinking what I was doing. I was thinking what I'm going to do tomorrow, how I'm going to fix, or how I'm going to do. So what changed a lot in me in this being like 10 years is that I got into meditation and mostly meditation and a lot of looked into a lot of neuro-linguistic programming, Buddhism, and all this stuff that in the end, even quantum physics, in the end, it's all interlaced. And that gave me, meditation gave me the tools to disconnect. Meditation gave me the tools to stay in the moment. You're not in the studio anymore. You're driving and you're listening to something, so stay there.
Yeah.
You're now home, you're with your kid or with your wife, and you're having a great time. You don't need to think about what's going to happen on Tuesday at work. Stay in the moment.
That's something I for sure been practicing myself. Can you go further into it with what type of meditation, or how did you found it, or what happened?
Yeah. Some time ago, when I closed my studio in 2009. I don't know if you remember, but there was a little slump in the industry where cars. Most of my clients were cars, Toyota, Honda. Cars were not being sold. The cars were being returned to China. China, Japan. They were sitting in the lots. The clients cut the budgets. So I was faced with a simple one. I close down, pay everybody, because I had employees. Keep my employees happy and they can go, or I can keep going and risk not being able to make payroll. And so I decided to give them a nice bonus and shut down. So I closed the studio. This also was along the time where my divorce happened. So it was all this stuff happening, and I was looking for answers. I was looking for peace. And that's how somehow, I'm trying to remember how, I got into meditating. I don't remember exactly where it came from, but I remember that I moved to my apartment, made that apartment like a sanctuary, and I would sit for an hour in the morning, and I would sit an hour in the afternoon. In the beginning, just pretending, because I didn't know what the hell was doing. Then I started just reading mostly Vipassana meditation, and which means things are as they are. Period. You sit there and you don't put any colors on what you see. It is what you see, and that doesn't change depending on what you think of it. So that's the premise. Seeing the things as they are. And after a while, that sitting in all the noise that I had in my mind, and after reading some techniques and practicing them, suddenly started working. Suddenly my mind was a little bit more quiet, and suddenly I was not sitting there just faking it. I was sitting there and it was working and it was real, and that started bringing more. I mean, I want to know more. I want to be more spiritual. I want to be in peace. I want to be able to give this peace to other people or share it somehow, because I believe if you're a little bit better, the world is that little bit better, and that's really important. So that's how it started. I think everything comes out of necessity. Everything comes out of an ache, I would say, and I was aching, so it worked. And
what books would you recommend in that avenue?
I read the Vipassana meditation book from Goenka. See, I need to search for that, but I don't remember his first name. He is the one that started this form of meditation. I started there. Then I read things from the Book of the Dead, the Buddhist Book of the Dead. It's a really nice one. Innumerable quantum physics books. I read one, and I don't remember the author, but it was about quantum gravity. And I don't know if you're acquainted with it, but right now our world, I mean, where we thought Einstein knew exactly what's going on, when we go to a quantum level, to the little level, it just breaks down. So what they're trying to find out, it's a quantum theory of gravity. And if we manage to get that, we will manage to answer a lot of questions. That started coming together with a lot of neurolinguistic programming. Neurolinguistic programming helped me in quieting my mind by anchoring things. I will evoke a feeling, and then there's ways to anchor it to parts of your body.
Physiology.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I would anchor whenever I felt anxious. I will anchor a feeling of tranquility, and I used to do this with my clients too. When they come into the studio and you see them, they're all like this. You go to something familiar for them. How was your weekend? What did you do? Oh, you went skiing. Awesome. And try to bring them to this feeling of, you went skiing. How does it feel when you come down the slope? Mm-hmm. Well, that feeling will completely change the vibe of your client. Mm-hmm. And I just started creating a more relaxed and better environment around me. And in general, it worked. Okay, so his name is S.N. Goenka, Goenka, and it's about Vipassana meditation. But this guy, he founded this meditation, this type of meditation it was an interview with him, where he explains how this thing works and how you can get there. Another thing that I did, it was I went to a 10-day, not retirement.
Silent retreatment?
Yes, silent retreat.
Wow, I wanted to do that.
It's intense, man. It's intense.
Where'd you do it?
I did it in Texas. I did it on the Vipassana, with the Vipassana people. It was awesome. It was incredible. I always wanted to do it here in LA, but I couldn't find the time. So when I left the other studio in Texas, I said, I'm doing it. That's it. So I found a nice place up there. It was beautiful. And I did the 10-day silent retreat, meditating 10 hours a day.
And you did it by yourself? You went solo, or did you go with a partner?
No, I went by myself. Even if you don't go with a partner, I mean, you can't speak.
Yeah. Now, I have so many questions with that. You went by yourself? How did your family take that?
My wife was really excited, but she was fearful. Because one of the things that happens with this is that you detach. Mm-hmm. And we're not used to detaching. So when I came back, it was interesting to see that dynamic, to assure her that, you know what, I might be a little bit detached, but that doesn't mean that things have changed or anything like that. That's probably pretty much the only person that really I would say mattered in that. But she encouraged me, and to this day, she doesn't know how I did it, and I don't know how to do it.
So did you, during the process, how many times do you remember? When was the point where you said, "Okay, I don't ever have to talk again"? You know, like, was it day 2, 3, 5?
It was day 3, and it's a threshold that you don't think you're going to be able to pass. It's a threshold that you're hoping that you can, and you're waiting for it because it's excruciating, and then suddenly everything's fine. And it was a good 3 days, 3 to 4 days.
That is great, admirable to do that.
Mind you, I've been meditating before that for a couple hours a day. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of
you were prepping.
At least I kind of knew, yeah. But yes, it's interesting.
Did you see anyone go a little nuts in there? Yeah,
I saw people that broke silence.
How was it dealt with? Was it like okay, or did it get out of hand?
Good. Okay. No, it's all good. You know, I just can't take it anymore. Then you shouldn't be here. That's okay. Break it, go get your things, and do whatever you need to do. I'm not going to speak to you. I'm sorry. I would like to, but I can't. And just move on. And it's okay, because as I said, nothing. Well, you know, Shakespeare said that there's nothing's good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So yeah. So it's that. You know?
Wow, that's great.
Especially after meditating, it's like, yeah, I mean, every mind is a world, so you have to respect that.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to do that one day.
You should check it out.
I've done a 10-day fast with just water and lemons, and by day 3, that was me going, oh, I don't have to eat for the rest of my life. Like, that was...
I've done that, and I had a hard time getting back to eating.
Yeah, I just came out of one maybe 3 weeks ago, no, a month ago now. But it was a shorter one. It was more of a free fast. I mean, I did maybe 2 green drinks in the beginning, and I went to the first of day 6, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have that little piece of thing or whatever, and I just broke it very, very slow. And it was wonderful because I didn't have a set date. I kind of was thinking maybe I'll do another 10. I don't know. No set goals, because I did the real serious 2 before that. I was very strict. It's fun and exciting, and I love the idea of just giving your body a break, just like when you did that. Give your mouth a break from talking, give your mind a break from the chaos, and it's a great thing. Absolutely. I tried that. I did. I don't think I finished it. I don't think I could finish it. I think I went to day 7 or 8. It's still, I mean, people think they can't miss a meal sometimes, and we think, oh, it's end of the world. Yeah, but that's great. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to get back to you on the books, because I did get. It was crucial to me. Sure, I would love that. I found some stuff that just tied the whole thing together, and so somehow made sense in all different disciplines. And it all started with a book that's called Primal Scream that I found. Yeah, I found on a public library, and it was being given away for free. It's one of those books when you go to a public library and there's a stack of things that take it. Yeah. You know, it's for you free. Mm-hmm. So I saw that, and I opened the book just like that,
And I remember I read something that answered the question, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it answered a very aching question. And I said, this book is for me. And that's where it all started.
Wow. Yeah, send me the book, and I would love to put it in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, there's four crucial books that I read. And obviously then I got into Rumi and, all that stuff. So
yeah, I love that one.
Khalil Gibran and all that.
It's like levels that, you hopped from this person or that idea to that and bring it all in and take what you think works best for you. It's a good feeling.
Khalil Gibran was a big one too. If you read if you read The Prophet, he basically wrote about pretty much everything, and it just flows. It just makes sense. So that was a name that I remember. The rest I have to get back to you.
Great. Okay. Quickly, before we wrap up, I have a couple more questions relative to that. But jumping back into editing, do you have 3 top editors' tips? Like three things that will make your editing life, your workflow, just incredibly better. What do you think? Could be novice, could be experts.
It's interesting because, again, it's going back to the creativity thing,
How you look at it.
How you get there, I have no idea. What do I do? What do I do after, again, procrastinating for like crazy and saying, shit, I got to deliver this at tomorrow at 9 in the morning? I dive into the story. Anybody will probably tell you that. Just dive into the story. Us editors, we're not writing the story. We're organizing the story. We put it in a way where people can take it in and not only understand the story, but make their own thoughts about what they're watching. So I think the most important thing is that what do we want to convey? Where's the story? What are we trying to do? And then getting inspired by the material. I think that's very important. When I know the story and then I look at the material, that's where ideas come from. That's where the pace comes from. That's where basically that's number 2. And then number 3, watch. That's what's out there. Just watch what's out there. If you're going to cut movies, watch movies. Learn from that. If you're going to cut documentaries, watch documentaries. If you're going to cut reality, you need to watch reality.
Yeah. Style. Any technical tips that, I know everyone uses different software, but anything that maybe took you years to actually do, and when you started doing it, you're like, oh my God. Like for me, offline editing, I never used to do it because I usually need it, but once I needed it, and I went through the madness of not even learning how to do it, then I learned how to do it. And I know you tried to help me with that one problem I had a couple months before.
I think it's mostly, and the most important thing for me, it's organization. How you organize your project, your material. You're talking about different softwares. Well, we have... I think the software is completely irrelevant. You can cut with scissors and tape. You can cut with software. You can cut with anything. But that being said, Final Cut 10 introduces something really interesting, and that is the metadata. You don't go to bins. You search. Metadata, it's important to me. I tend to, and I was explaining this to the assistant, the PA. I put keywords into the shots that mean something to me. So whatever you do, make sure you understand yourself. That's basically it, because you're working for you, and nobody's going to get into your project and okay, now I'm going to do this. Excuse me, where did you put this? No, it's your project. It's your client's project, but your client's not going to dive into your project. It's you.
Make sure you can navigate yourself.
Make sure you understand yourself. Make sure if you're looking for something, you make sure you know how to find it. That you're not going to spend 3 hours in front of a client looking for the shot that he's asking for. and that comes either from memory, which is usually not really good, or from metadata. So if I have an exterior red car with a bump on the side, and we need to find that, then I extract the most important thing from the shot and put it on keywords.
And so what software do you use these days?
I like to be software agnostic because I like the freshness of changing from one to the other.
That's cool.
But we're using Premiere, the Adobe suite, basically, mostly because of the integration of the entire suite. For audio, I use Pro Tools.
Okay.
For audio mixing, for music, I use Ableton Live or Logic. And again, I tend to jump from one to the other because I like it. I like to be fresh. I mean, I want a fresh song. What haven't I used for a long time? And these things about getting something fresh kind of brings something new to the mind. What else? Color correction, I use just for minor stuff, Premiere, but DaVinci, definitely.
Now, wait, I have a question. Have you tinkered with DaVinci's? DaVinci is a editing software that was originally for color, but now they're having the editing and they're integrating a lot. Have you played with it?
Love it, yes.
I'm liking it. It seems that it reacts better to large clips than Premiere does. Like it just reacts better. Do you know why does it react better, and what do you think
I don't know,
about where
but
it's going?
Peppy. It's peppy. It's just boom, 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 boom.
It makes me
boom.
more exciting to edit. I mean, it's just. But the thing is, switching. Like if I have a deadline to relearn certain things to make me fast in that program, I have to set aside the time to do so, and I'm considering it.
Right. I love it, and I did some projects on DaVinci just straight, and just for the sake of it, just for what happens if I do this. Yeah. And yes, we did. I never kind of cornered myself, but I know the possibility is always there. That, how do I do this? Oh, no, I have to go back to... I try to avoid that. So I figure things out, but it's exciting for me to bring a new piece of software. For 3D, I use Blender, which is an open source project. I mean that it's incredible, and now it's an editor, now it's a compositor, it's everything. I use Maya too, just to be compatible with the rest of the world. But that's basically it.
Great.
I think I covered mostly everything. Unity for games, if anything.
Okay, now where can people see some of your work and find you if you want to be found?
Oh my God. Well, obviously my website, matiaslanzi.com. That's kind of the hub of everything. You can see my work there. You've probably seen my work. You've probably heard my work. It just... You never get the credit, and it's fine. So yeah, my website is a place to go, and then commercials. I mean, that's what it is. There's also content being generated at Honda.com, at Dole, Sunshine Latino. All that content is generated by us. And for the agency, we do little pieces just for fun. Okay. So just go out there, shoot, come back, and put it together and post it. So orci.com, ORCI, that's the agency that we work for, and we're owned by. And then my website.
All right.
Matias Lanzi.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll be in the show notes, of course. Okay, second favorite movie.
Second?
Yeah.
I have to say Clockwork Orange.
That's one of my top. Why?
I don't know why I said second, because I think you're not going to ask for the first. That's why I said second. Are you going to ask for the first?
Okay, what's the first?
I really enjoyed Romeo and Juliet, but I don't know who did it.
Wait, the 90s?
Yes, yes, the one, the modern one.
Very interesting, very unique, punky, right? I remember.
Yeah. It was Kristen Dunst and Leonardo DiCaprio, I think. Was it Kristen?
I don't know, but I know Leo.
No. What's this girl? National Security. National. Wait, Claire Danes.
Oh, okay.
Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio, and I don't remember who directed it.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, another one came to mind.
Okay.
It's getting. Luc Besson does incredible stuff, and I like the Big Blue from Luc Besson. I like The Fifth Element from Luc Besson, and then obviously the classics.
That's one of those three. Well, okay, Romeo and Juliet, I really appreciate, but the two, Clockwork Orange and Fifth Element, I have loved those and watched those several times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Good choices.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good.
Now, what do you want written on your epitaph?
Oh my God. I don't know. I think somebody else should do that.
Oh, okay.
I don't. I'll be. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Why do we have to be so egotistical? Just let someone, whatever they think of me, let's see what they write.
I think so, and I hope somebody that knows me does it.
Instead of just some guy that's like,
yeah,
making
exactly.
it up. By looking at your body, he's like,
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's for somebody else to
cool
to do.
Excellent. Okay, final question. What can people do right now, like literally tonight or tomorrow, that can push them one step closer to where they want to go in life? Let's say the entertainment industry, or specifically, I guess.
I would say take that first step or take that next step.
But okay, how can they do that?
Okay.
That's the hardest part, right?
That's the hardest part.
After you take a step, you could take many. But what's a thing?
Exactly. But no, what I guess what I mean is that I find a lot of people saying, what do I do? Well, just do something, and you'll figure it out. I see a lot of people that tell me, what do I do? But they don't do anything. So,
yeah.
So if just do something, and as you do it, you're going to find, you're going to get feedback. And your feedback will get you to do something else, different, better, whatever, to follow those steps. To be a little bit more specific, get your work together. Get your work together and show it. And don't be a big critic. Let critics be the critics. Don't stop yourself before you go out there, because one tends to be very harsh with the self, and some not harsh enough, but
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, but just go out there, get your whatever it is that you do it, and show it, and try to share it. Eventually, if your work is good, you're going to be successful, and if it's not, you're going to get better and better, little by little.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. Yeah, just do.
Just do. I mean, try to have a plan, but what I mean when I say do is whatever you do it. That's some people, and I found myself in the same position. How do I do this? I want to be a composer. Well, you need to compose, dude. If you don't compose, you're never going to be a composer. I want to edit. Well, edit. Because if you don't...
It's the simple thing. The small, simple thing you can do now will lead you to the more advanced stuff. Just one simple thing.
And that's a good one, too. Do something today that will help you in the future.
Yeah. Anything. It doesn't matter how small, right?
Yeah. And keep step by step. Don't look into 5 steps ahead, because you're going to go crazy. What's the next step? And do it. And that's it. And you'll figure out the next one and the next one as you go.
Yeah. Just like, I got to get home now, but what do I do?
Take the freeway.
But I got to get in the car first.
Exactly. Exactly.
It all makes sense.
And there's an analogy of the car right there. You're driving your car. You don't see all the way to your home. You see what the lights allow you to see, and that's it. And you trust that you're going to get there. So trust that you're going to get there by doing, not by just trusting.
Yes, it's a combination. It's great. Well, it looks like I ran out of questions. Just kidding. No, but I really love talking with you. Thank you so much. And I know you got to get going, and me too. And
no worries, but I'm happy with finally, dude. And sorry for the delay.
No, I understand. And I'm glad you're staying productive, and seems like things are going in a good direction.
Yes. Yes, thankfully.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, please show your support by taking a few moments and leaving a positive review on iTunes or Stitcher. It would mean a lot to me. It's like giving me an electronic hug or kiss. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Unfake It Till You Make It podcast. For detailed sources and show notes for this episode, visit www.unfakeittillyoumakeit.com. Until next time, get up, get going, and get creative.